Hello, welcome back to the Talon podcast. Today we're going to be talking about sports in the world this week so far and a recap of the NFL draft. Let's start off with what happened in baseball recently, Daniel.
So last night, John Means, pitcher for the Baltimore Orioles, threw a no-hitter versus the Mariners. It could be a perfect game. I don't know. On ESPN, it claims on fantasy baseball is a perfect game because he had a wild pitch. And normally a perfect game is for someone no runners on base. And there was no runners on base. However, it was labeled as a no-hitter. So that's the third no-hitter this season. Carlos Rodon for the White Sox threw a no-hitter. And who is he? Elliot, who's the other person that threw a no-hitter? I'm blanking.
Joe Musgrove.
And Joe Musgrove.
Yeah.
Along with John Means. This is weird. You don't see this many no-hitters in baseball. Let alone, I'm not saying these guys are bad pitchers by any means. Oh, no, okay, no pun intended. John Means. Okay. John Means is a decent pitcher. Musgrove's a decent pitcher. Rodon's a decent pitcher. But I'm surprised. There's so many elite pitchers in the league right now. Trevor Bauer of the Dodgers, Garrett Cole of the Yankees, Shane Bieber of the Indians, Darvish of the Padres. You know what I'm going at. None of these guys have really thrown a no-hitter, which is really weird. And you're seeing these guys who are good, not great, throwing no-hitters. So it's kind of interesting where the MLB's gone because it's always been a home run hitting league. It's turning into that, but now it's kind of getting weird because there's been so many no-hitters, and it's like, I don't know, maybe guys being able to go in the film room now, it's been easier for them to pitch. So, yeah.
Yeah, I see what you're saying because, when you're a big name pitcher, you're going to have – and you have more tape on you. It's going to be easier to, know what's being thrown at you. Still hard to hit it, but you're seeing more guys that kind of are no-name pitchers who don't have a lot of film on them throw no-hitters. And, like Carlos Rondon, he said, oh, I was about to retire. And then he just threw a no-hitter. It's like these guys fly under the radar, and then all it takes is one game to kind of rejuvenate their career.
Before we move on, the Red Sox right now are a game and a half ahead of the Rays and the Yankees. Do you guys think that they'll be able to keep this up for the rest of the season, or do you think that they're going to be taken off the number one spot in the American East by the Yankees, the Rays?
I would not be surprised if the Yankees overtake us in the slightest. The team is just way more talented than us, but I do think we're going to make it to the playoffs. I don't know if they're going to the same rule as last year where there were 7 playoff teams rather than 6. But I do think we'll probably snag either a wild card spot or maybe if we keep it up, get the one spot in the AL East. Lately, we dropped 3 or 4 to the Rangers, and we're only 1-1 right now in the series against the Tigers. We haven't been playing our best baseball right now, but offensively, we've been pretty fine so far in the past 6 games or so. It's just the bullpen has been a little bit shaky. They've been great all season, but if we need to keep going, the bullpen has to step it up because Whitlock has been getting rocked the past 2 appearances, and Ottavino needs to start finding his spots.
So let's move on to basketball now. And recent news would be that Kyrie Irving has been fined again for not talking to the media. Do you think he's going to get fined another time this season, or will he finally learn his lesson and finally start talking to the media more?
Jordan, you want to take this one?
I mean, he is like a big name in the NBA, so I don't think they're gonna find him too many times, especially if they want to keep their ratings up and stuff like that. I don't think they're gonna go the extra mile and find him more than they need to, especially if if the NBA is looking to have the Nets in the finals and they want a good amount of ratings. I don't think they're gonna do that to themselves.
The Celtics last night had a 132-96 win over the Orlando Magic. It was a nice win without Jaylen Brown being out after colliding with Tatum the last game. Do you think that the Celtics right now, who are near the bottom of the playoffs for the East, do you think they're a lock to make the playoffs right now, or do you think they're going to fall into the play-in tournament?
Well, we have a relatively easy schedule going forward, but that's no guarantee with this year's Celtics team. There's been times this season where it looked like they can hang with the best teams in the league. Like we'll be playing. Like I remember that we played the Bucks at one time and we won by like 14. It was an excellent game. And then there's times where we'll like be down 32 to like some team, or we'll be losing to the Timberwolves or some crazy thing like that. So I don't really know what to expect. I could say, oh, they're gonna win the next 6 games and be the 4 or 5 seed, but then they could easily just split the next 6 games. I don't know what to expect with them.
Yeah, and
Oh,
go ahead.
inconsistency been the word for the Celtics. I mean, you hear rumors of Brad Stevens being on the hot seat. You know, then it's like, oh, we just beat the team by 40 points. Is the Celtics team like the one we're used to seeing? And it's all gonna ride on the young players, and Kemba Walker has to step up. So I think if they can be a more consistent team, then I could definitely see them going on a run and taking either like the 4 seed, maybe 5 seed.
Yeah, like you said, like everybody has to step up. It can't be like a one player team. Tatum, like whether he's consistent or not, it has to be like a team game, because the teams in the East, like you can't underestimate them. So it's kind of like, you know, whether Tatum's scoring 50, 40 a night, they have to step up as a team either way.
So right now, the entirety of the NBA playoffs look tight, as at any moment in either the West or the East, either the Nets or the Suns can take back the number 1 seed. Right now, the Suns are a game behind the Jazz, and the Nets are right now 2 games behind the Sixers, and the Bucks are right behind the Nets, 3 games behind the Sixers. Do you guys think that any of these teams will be able to take the 1 seed before the playoffs start and just keep the momentum through the playoffs?
Well, let me talk about my Sixers real quick. They've looked good. They slowed down a little of late. I think Brooklyn could definitely. I think if Brooklyn played all their players, I think they could easily take the 1 spot. I just don't think the Sixers have enough firepower to hold in that 1 spot. But you know that it doesn't look like the Nets are able to find their groove right now. And I mean, they have so much damn talent on that team. Like it's not going to take a lot for them to find that. But with the Sixers, I haven't seen this good ball movement from this team. I think Doc Rivers is doing a great job, and right now the team's riding on Joel Embiid's shoulders. But lately he hasn't really been. I mean, he's had 2 games above 30, but he's really kind of just been coasting. And I think the Sixers are going to continue doing that. Give him maybe a couple more rest days and just let the team coast into the playoffs. Whether it's, I mean, they're going to definitely want that 1 seed because they're really good at home. But I think the Nets could, or the Bucks even, could take it from them.
Yeah, I mean, it could happen. I think it's irrelevant. I think my pick for the finals is already a lock. I have Clippers playing the Nets in the championship. First off, I would say the Lakers, but I know they have LeBron. I know they have AD, but I just think they're too far low in the standings to keep up. If they're gonna have to play the Clippers in a round before the conference finals, I don't see them doing anything. I think the Clippers are really well built this year. With the additions that they made over the offseason and Serge Ibaka and getting some other guys for the role players, I think it was really smart. And with the Nets, I think the only thing that's stopping them is injuries. If guys are hurt, then I don't see them going to the finals. I see the Bucks. I'm sorry, Elliot. I just can't pick the Sixers. I haven't seen the Sixers have any success in the playoffs in the past 5 years. So I just don't have the Bucks.
Yeah, I know that's the thing. The Bucks and Sixers kind of remind, like, I can't see either of them winning a championship because their best or second best player can't shoot the ball.
Yeah, I just don't know what to expect. I do think the Clippers will win the NBA championship this year. I think they will beat the Nets in 7 games. I think Kawhi Leonard is going to be Kawhi Leonard, unless if we have a fully healthy KD, a fully healthy James Harden, a fully healthy Kyrie Irving. My prediction will change. It will be Nets in 6 once we get to that spot. However, the Celtics couldn't make the finals. You never know. I'm still rooting for them.
Oh my God, Daniel. But speaking of the Clippers, honestly, a guy that we should really talk about is Nick Batum, who has had a sneakily decent year this year with the Clippers. He only started about 38 of the games this season, but he's honestly not doing bad. And I feel like if they do make it to the finals, he will have a huge impact on that off the bench, or if they need to put him in the starting lineup.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it's about. Like, yeah, like your starters are a big part of the team, but like if you don't have that depth, it's like you're not gonna put up the consistent numbers that you want to put up, especially if your system revolves around your bench. Um, I don't think they're gonna get as much wins as they need to if they don't have a bench, especially if there's injuries involved. So yeah.
Speaking of LA, still, the Lakers have had a fall from grace right now, just getting Anthony Davis back. LeBron about to come back again after missing 2 games. And right now, the Lakers are in the 6th seed a year after winning the championship. Do you guys think that they're going to fall all the way into the play-in tournament right now? Or will they be able to stay semi-healthy and try and bump up in the standings?
I mean, LeBron did say he wasn't going to be 100% for the rest of his career. So I mean, I think it's pretty much unpredictable though. I think with the starting lineup of Anthony Davis, LeBron, Drummond, I think they could still make something happen. I don't think they're going to fall all the way into the play-in tournament, especially with them just being in the starting lineup. So yeah.
So the draft just happened just last weekend, actually, and there are a lot of actual good picks I saw. And for once, Elliot's Eagles actually did not mess up their pick.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean,
So, what do you guys think are some of the more surprising picks in your opinion in the first couple of rounds this year in the draft?
I think the first surprise for me was Jamar Chase at 5. Yes, he's definitely a top 5 talent. But the Bengals, they need an offensive line, and
Except they also want to keep Joe Burrow happy.
yeah, as much as I drool over a good wide receiver court because I haven't seen one in Philadelphia in 10 years. As much as I drool over that, you got to protect your quarterback, and like I just don't know the Bengals.
I feel like the Jamar Chase pick though was more over the fact that Burrow wanted him, and that he played with Burrow and LSU. Burrow came out and said he wanted him. I feel like that's the reason why they took him over like Penei Sewell or another lineman that early.
Did the Bengals take a lineman in the second round?
I don't remember.
Because I remember when I was like thinking about my mock drafts, like I could definitely, because it's the best player available, and Sewell's debatably the better player overall. But if they took Jamar Chase and then took someone like the Eagles took Landon Dickerson, I thought he would be a guy that could drop to the Bengals. And I think the Eagles snagged him right before the Bengals pick, I believe. So I wonder if the Bengals I forget what they got in the second round pick.
I'd like to say some of my sleeper picks in the first round. My first sleeper pick will be later in the first round, Eric Stokes to the Packers. I think he's a good cornerback. I think he's got good hands. I think he's quick. But I also think there's a large overreaction. I think this whole situation with Aaron Rodgers, with he doesn't have weapons, this and that, I think that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. I think besides not having a competent tight end, he has weapons. He literally has like a top 5 receiver. Marcus Sampling is quick and he's a good receiver. They have a top
I mean, he's just
running back.
except it's not just the receiving core though. He's decently mad at the GM.
I understand, but people are complaining about stuff that he doesn't have. But Brady has won Super Bowls with nothing. Besides, all he has is Rob Gronkowski.
I mean, but the thing about Brady is that Rodgers' contract is significantly larger than Brady's ever was. I'm probably until like this season.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm not gonna crap on Rodgers.
Brady had more top end depth at every position. When you look at Rodgers, he has a large contract, which does not equate to a good team most of the time.
It's kind of his fault too. Well, at the same time, I do think Eric Stokes is a great pick. They need corner help. I'm not gonna say like, oh, because that one game where Kevin King got destroyed. Kevin King was actually not bad last season, but they do need corner help. They only have really Jair Alexander. Another sleeper is Najee Harris at the 24th pick to the Steelers.
Do you not think the Steelers' O-line struggles and them literally not having tackles or a center will be any horrible for them?
Well, they got some offensive linemen later in the rounds, so it's not a big deal. But Najee Harris is a complete game changer. There was nothing special about James Conner. Even when they had a good offensive line, there was nothing special about James Conner. I think he had a couple good games a couple of years back, and people started getting on the James Conner train. He's nothing special. It's a great story with him, but I think Najee Harris is an absolute beast. And my third sleeper is actually kind of early in the draft, but it's the 13th pick, is Rashon Slater. I think that was his name, to the Chargers. Having Herbert having a really solid blindside block is going to be deadly. Herbert is turning into a star right now, and I think he needs all the protection he can get. He already has a solid receiving core. He's got Eckler. He's got a bunch of good guys. They got a solid defense. The Chargers could be a big sleeper this year. I think they might snag the wild card spot.
I like that. I like the also the Darisaw pick by the Vikings. I think when you can snag these like potential Pro Bowl linemen in the teens, like that's a great move for teams that need to bolster their O-line. You guys want to
Elliot, just one thing.
Yeah.
The Bengals second round pick was indeed an lineman, offensive tackle Jackson Carman at the 46th overall spot from Clemson.
So we'll see how he does. But hey, I mean, if Burrow gets hurt again, all eyes are going to be on that.
Hey, Jordan, are there any picks that surprised you that they were drafted too early, too late, or anything like that?
Not really. I mean, I think all the teams pretty much got their picks right. I don't think there should have been a player that shouldn't have been drafted early, late, whatever. I think it should. I think the NFL season next season should be exciting. There's a lot of studs coming up, so I think like each team should have at least a decent record.
I mean, 3 quarterbacks picked to the top 3 for the 3rd time ever. This definitely should be an interesting season.
Yeah.
I want to just turn to the 15th overall pick by the Patriots, which was, of course, quarterback Mac Jones out of Alabama. And a quote from Kurt Warner on Mac Jones and him playing with the Patriots. Kurt Warner said, in some very brief quote, but he plays the game very much like Tom Brady did. Do you think that Mac Jones will be able to replicate Tom Brady's greatness that he's had for 20 years in New England? Or will it be something more of a low-end MVP caliber quarterback who is able to make a deep playoff run every year?
I don't really see the comparison in Tom Brady. If I'm going to be totally honest, I see more of like a Matt Ryan, kind of like Derek Carr. Because if you really watch the tape in Mac Jones, I mean, yeah, he had some explosive receivers. But if you really watch the tape in college, he just launched the ball down the field, up and down the field. I mean, yeah, he had dump offs here and there, and he had short passes, but I could see maybe where he approaches the game with Brady, how he's like more of a game manager, how he really does a good job of controlling the clock. I guess it's that, but as a player itself, just because he's like white in the pocket past our quarterback doesn't immediately mean he's Tom Brady. I mean, he's got more stuff. He's a lot different than Brady, but I do think he's going to be a solid quarterback just because of the system he's under. But the only issue is that I don't know what's going to be up with the receiving core this upcoming season. I don't think he's going to be the starter of the season. It's going to be Cam Newton. I think he'll be the starter of the season. Also, there's a good chance that Mac Jones might take over the starting role at some point this season. I think Cam Newton is gone. Even if he wins the he would have to win MVP or the Super Bowl or something like that to be back. Because it's clearly obvious why they gave him a 1-year contract and why they took a first-round quarterback. It was obvious that he was going to mentor him, be the starter, and Mac Jones is going to take over next season.
Yeah, I agree with that assessment. I think that I don't know. Mac Jones really intrigues me because like he's got the name, and he's got the college, but I don't know. When was the last time you saw like a kid from Alabama really bloom into a stud?
The quarterback, which is for your Eagles, actually, right now.
Well, yeah, but like we're talking about a really polished quarterback that looks like a legitimate prospect. I don't think we've really there's been a lot of success over the years, but who knows? These guys, I mean, Zach Wilson's coming from BYU. They haven't had much talent there. So, and you're seeing more guys like Trey Lance, Carson Wentz. They went to North Dakota State. So it doesn't really matter where the school is, but if you look at the history, I don't know, it's a little bit questionable. But I think the Patriots got a great. That was a great pick at 15. I thought he was going to go before that. Talk about my Eagles.
Yeah, speaking about Carson Wentz, let's talk about the team he used to play for, the Philadelphia Eagles. And for once, I feel like they actually didn't mess up their first-round draft pick where they drafted Heisman-winning wide receiver Devontae Smith.
Yeah, I mean, let me
Elliot,
say.
What's your take on this pick?
Well, let me say this real quick. I'm just glad that they didn't go with what I think was the best player available in Justin Fields. And I did some research. They were never going Justin Fields. That was actually probably my most surprising pick of the whole draft, that the Bears traded up for him. I don't think anyone saw that coming. I think people saw maybe they'll move up a few spots.
I mean, there have been reports coming out that the Vikings are planning on taking Justin Fields before the Bears traded up to pick him.
Yeah. But no, back to the Eagles pick. Devontae Smith, man, dude. I started watching his tape right after like the Eagles basically got eliminated from playoff contention, and dude, I between him and Jamar Chase, it was always like it's 1A and 1B, and just watching Devontae Smith, like he's a technician, dude. He runs routes, and he puts emphasis on like every single movement. And it's just like perfect. And people are saying like, oh, he's the most well-rounded receiver out of Alabama, out of Waddle, Ruggs, and Judy. But I mean, yeah, people are concerned with the height, but there's been a few like NFL guys that have said it's Marvin Harrison, dude. It's the next Marvin Harrison, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a Homer Eagles fan that wants the next Marvin Harrison, but like I have only heard good things, and the people that don't watch this kid are like, oh, he's 166 pounds. That's like, put in perspective, that's like 10 pounds heavier than me, but he's like 7 inches taller, so it's kind of crazy. But man, the dude balls out on the field, and I've loved him ever since he had that thing on Bleacher Report where he came out and said like, dude, height doesn't matter. I'm gonna play the toughest, and whichever team gets me. And the fact that he's reuniting with Hurts is awesome. I think Hurts is gonna benefit. I think Jalen Reagor, their first round pick from last year, is gonna benefit. Not having that pressure of being a number one receiver. And I know a lot of people think that they're kind of a similar receiver, like you, Rohan. But I mean, it's fair to think that because they're both smaller, speedy wide receivers. But I just think Devonta Smith's route running is just so above even the best in the league.
So Smith just more has like a Stephon Diggs or or Devontae Adams type play style with like
Yeah.
his routes and focus on each individual cut and motion in order to get the most separation needed, basically.
Yeah, I think he's got like the route running of Keenan Allen and the speed of and explosiveness of Calvin Ridley. And I've even heard like he's a taller Antonio Brown. Like I really think the potential for this kid is nuts. And I still can't believe the Eagles got him. Like it's kind of crazy. I wish I took a video of my reaction when they traded up with the Cowboys, because I was like jumping up in my house, like, what the hell just happened? Did they just trade with the devil? Like, and then they got their guy. So, something to look forward to.
I mean, hey, it looks they're either going to be going on a full rebuild right now, or they're going to try and make a run for the NFC East title. But it's definitely going to be an exciting season to watch. And speaking of the NFC East, it was originally there was 3 picks in a row for the NFC East. You had the was it the Giants, the Cowboys, and the Eagles, or what order was it?
It was originally it was the Cowboys at 10, Giants at 11, Eagles at 12, and Eagles and Cowboys swap picks. So the Eagles went to 10, and then Cowboys went to 12.
Well, the Cowboys looked like they were bolstering their defense this draft, and I saw a report that was very interesting to me that the Cowboys spent, I think it was either all their or most of their picks on defensive players, was it? And do you think the Cowboys are trying to put Dan Quinn in a situation where he's able to have that defense be a lockdown style defense after looking how bad it was last year?
Yeah, that's the direction they needed to go. If you look at the NFC East, they split actually with their first round picks. Cowboys and Washington both took inside linebackers, and the guy from Kentucky went to the Washington. I think it was like Jamin Davis, I think is his name, or Jamin Davis, and the Cowboys got Micah Parsons. So that's interesting. I know the Giants got Cadet Tony from Minnesota or whatever, Florida.
Yeah.
No, Rashad Bateman's at Minnesota, and then obviously the Eagles got Devontae Smith. So it should be interesting with the Cowboys. They really need to bulk up on defense. Dak Prescott is going to do what Dak Prescott does. When he's at his peak, he's a top 7-8 quarterback in the league, I think. He's a really dynamic guy. They got a great receiving group, but it's all about that defense. Who cares how good your receiving core is? Who cares how good Ezekiel Elliott is or Dak Prescott? I mean, their defense was so incredibly bad, like recordly bad last year. It was bad. They need to be more like Washington, who has not only the best defense in the NFC East, a top 3 defense in the NFC.
One guy I really liked from that the Cowboys picked was Kelvin Joseph. I think they got him in either the late second or third. But I wanted the Eagles to take him because they need cornerback help as well. But I think that's going to be a good player for the Cowboys, and I think Parsons is, if he can stay out of trouble, and just let his game take the stage, it's gonna be a great pick for the Cowboys. I think they got a steal in him.
Well, I feel like we should talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars, who drafted with the number 1 overall pick, Trevor Lawrence. Then with their second pick in the first round, they drafted Travis Etienne out of Clemson. Trevor's running back in college. So, what's your opinion that they drafted Etienne while already having J-Rob, and then Urban Meyer then calling Travis Etienne a third down back?
I mean, I understand where they're going. They want to pair his running back with him, which is cool and all. They went 1-for-1 with that first pick. I don't really know what happened after that. Maybe they were like, oh, we got Trevor Lawrence, let's just go crazy. And then they just were stupid the rest of the draft. I don't know what happened with that. They need to load up on defense. The Jaguars are one of the biggest fall-offs I've ever seen out of a team from 2017 to now. It was like they were a quarterback away from making it to the Super Bowl. Blake Bortles obviously wasn't going to get the deal done for them, but they just needed to load up on defense. They maybe add a receiver, maybe add a tight end, but they got it wrong with Travis Etienne. They should have gotten Rashad Bateman. They should have gotten someone on defense. maybe like a DN to replace Campbell where he was, or get like a cornerback to replace Jalen Ramsey, but they didn't. So the Jaguars are still going to be bad. They're not going to be the worst team in the AFC South, though. I think they're going to be better than the Houston Texans.
I mean, of course, I don't say anybody who wouldn't be better than the Houston Texans next year, but I feel like they drafted Etienne because Clemson, Trevor Lawrence, Clemson. They want to make sure their new rookie first overall quarterback is happy. But essentially calling him a third down back, though, it pulls into question more if they think it's a third down back, and they have James Robinson. Why even draft him, even if it was to make Trevor Lawrence happy? Why draft a guy then call him a third down back like a couple hours later? That just baffles me.
Yeah, I don't understand. I didn't understand the pick either. Especially in like, what was it, the first round? You took them with their other pick.
Yeah, I think it was end of the first round or like in the 20s.
I mean, you normally don't take a running back in the first round. Not to mention they already have one. Like, it confused me a little, but I get why they did it, because look at the other teams that reunited their wide receivers with their. We mentioned Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. You got Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts, and we also forgot to mention Jalen Waddle and Tua. So I think more teams are looking for that chemistry. So we'll see how that goes.
Speaking of that chemistry, it's Waddle and Tua, right?
Yeah.
Any of you remember the report that came out a couple of months ago that says Waddle would rather play with thinks that Mac Jones is the better quarterback than over Tua?
Because he is the better.
Yeah, except do you think that at all will fracture their wide receiver quarterback relationship down in Miami, or do you think it only motivate to be able to be better?
I think he was just. I think he was just trying to boost Mac Jones' draft stock. If I'm gonna be totally honest, I don't even think I don't think it's much of a big deal. I mean, Tua is still obviously he was a good college quarterback. I don't know if he's gonna be that special in the NFL. I still can't. I can't make up with Tua. Obviously he's just a rookie, but I feel like with the rookies, if there's a starter from day one or a start majority of the season, you can kind of tell where they're gonna be at as a quarterback, where the potential is. You're obviously no rookie quarterback is just going to be a god out the gate like Herbert or Burrow, but you could tell that Burrow and Herbert are going to be future stars, and you could tell that Daniel Jones, like who was a rookie a couple of years ago, can be good, but I don't know if he has the tools to do it. And then there's other guys like Sam Darnold who maybe will be better under a better system. So it should be interesting with Tua.
I feel like we should touch up on this right before we end, but FanDuel Sportsbook's MVP odds have come out recently. And right now, Patrick Mahomes is leading all the quarterbacks at plus 500. Then you have Aaron Rodgers at plus 900, even though his situation right now, kind of nobody knows where it's going to go. Josh Allen then at plus 1,300, then Prescott at 1,500, Stafford at 1,500 as well. Lamar and Brady both at plus 1,700. Then you have Herbert and Wilson at 2,000, and then Kyler Murray at 2,300. I know it's kind of early to think about MVP, Rookie of the Year, all that, but who do you guys think will actually win with how the teams are right now? Who would win MVP, Rookie of the Year, DPOY, etc.?
It's a toss-up for me. I think it's either Lamar Jackson. I think that they added Rashad Bateman. I think Marquise Brown is going to get better. He's not the best route runner, but he's really quick. If he improves his route running, he could be a very solid NFL receiver. I think it could be Lamar. I also think it could be Dak Prescott. And I also think it could be Justin Herbert. Those are my three. As much as I could say, like, oh, obviously, it's Patrick Mahomes, I think Patrick Mahomes is going to get the LeBron treatment for the next 20 years in the NFL, where they don't want to make him MVP every single year. So
Yeah,
I think it's going to be Herbo, Prescott, or Lamar.
I got Herbert. I love Justin Herbert, man. I think with his fundamentals are there. You saw his arm strength's there. He's got the swag, dude. He's just got it. And I think the Chargers did him right. They got him protection. They got him who they take? They took someone at wide receiver. To help with the wide receiver run. But like Keenan Allen's one of my favorite wide receivers in the league, and they got Mike Williams, who's just an absolute possession, but like goes up for it, comes down, gets big plays. And they got a good run game, and I don't know. I think he's got a great chance of having like that sophomore year, like Mahomes had, that was just insane. And I think losing Hunter Henry's going to hurt him a bit, because that's just that's such a reliable source for a young quarterback. But I just think Herbert's really talented, and I think personally right now I see him as better than Burrow, but that can change really quickly.
Jordan, what do you think?
Yeah, I'd definitely say Herbert for sure. He fought hard all season, and I think if you give him the weapons and you put him keep him in a good situation, a good system, where he's comfortable, I think he can show up for whatever team, and I think he looks good right now. Like Elliot said, I think he's definitely better than Burrow right now for sure. So yeah, I think he can definitely keep it up though. I see Herbert having a breakout season for sure.
I'm gonna go on a limb here and say Matthew Stafford, who in my opinion is a dark horse candidate for MVP. I mean, that Rams team really does have a decent receiving core and running game, and they're gonna really much incorporate that play action scheme that they did with Goff, and Matthew Stafford is honestly a much better, more talented, more polished quarterback than Goff ever has been so far. And I feel like he's going to succeed there in LA, and they're honestly going to do well with him. And I feel like he has a solid chance at winning MVP this season. But I think that's about all the time we have for today. So I'd like to thank everybody for watching, and we'll see you all next time on the Talon podcast.